Hello, and welcome to Listen If You're Lonely. It's been a while since we last talked. I hope you're doing well. And I know I've got a lot to explain, but first, I wanted to say thank you to everyone who listened, who followed, who left a review or a comment on one of the original videos. I just wanted to say that I appreciate it so much. Thank you for taking a chance on this little podcast. Your support made me feel like maybe I could actually help someone someday. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And if you're new here, or you just got a notification for a new episode of a podcast you didn't remember existing, then welcome. My name is Helen, and this is a podcast I started 3.5 years ago and very quickly abandoned. Back then, I was so scared of anyone hearing me that I used a fake name, and I would sneak down to the basement when my family was out to record this. You might be thinking, that seems a bit ironic, right? Starting a podcast when you don't want to be heard? Definitely is. I don't know, I guess I was trying to reach out into the dark without wanting to find anything. And I like to think that things are different now. I was 20 then, and I'm a month shy of 24 now. In the past 3.5 years, I graduated college, I started grad school, I hated it, changed programs, and I'm now a semester away from finishing my master's degree. I also had my first relationship and my second. I felt love and heartbreak for the first time. I gained some new friends and I lost some. I adopted a cat. I wrote a novel. I published some short stories and a poem. And I have a story coming out in a book next month. I also started dealing with some chronic health stuff after about half a dozen ER trips, countless appointments, every possible lab and test and exam and procedure that you could think of, medications and supplements and new diets, all sorts of doctors of different specialties and different clinics. Still don't have any answers. Some things are the same, though. I'm still in the apartment I moved into only a few weeks after the last episode I published in early August of 2021, and I'm still using the same low-quality microphone from Amazon, so if anyone has any recommendations, please let me know. And, well, I'm still fighting to let myself be heard. But recently, I was talking to my dad about the latest procedure I had done, and he suggested I start a blog. I think his exact words were, "You can't be the only 23-year-old going through this." And he's right. I know that I'm not. Honestly, I knew it at 20, and I still know it now. I'm not the only person who feels lonely a lot of the time. I'm not the only person who feels isolated because of illness. I'm definitely not the only person struggling to figure out what comes next. And aside from that, I still talk to one of my old creative writing professors from undergrad, and I attended one of her readings last month. Afterwards, I asked her, "How do you know when you're ready to tell a story? Is it better to wait to heal or to pull the words right from the open wound?" And she said that leaning into the pain can get messy, but waiting to heal can be an endless game. She reminded me that there are some things we just never heal from. Instead, they kind of just get woven into who we are. So her advice to me was this: do what you can when you can. Many times over the past few years, I've thought about coming back to the podcast. So, to answer the question, why now? Well, it's because my dad reminded me why I do this, and my professor reminded me that I should stop waiting for some magical right moment to come along. Besides, this is a bit like a vlog, right? So, anyways, I guess this is me reaching out into the dark, hoping that you'll reach back. All that is to say, I have a lot of plans for this podcast. I will, of course, still be talking about loneliness, and I'll still talk about mental health, and I want to talk about interpersonal relationships of all kinds, and how we gain them, how we lose them, what it's like to have them and to not have them. And I also want to talk about chronic illness and just how isolating it can be. My ultimate goal for this is to make it a space that builds connection. So specifically for this episode, and probably for everyone after it, I'll leave a comment box on Spotify, and feel free to share anything on your mind. I would love to hear what you've been up to since July of 2021. The last thing I want to talk about today is something that a lot of Northern Hemisphere people can relate to right now. I live really far north, and the weather here is just awful. It's been snowing for days, the roads are slush, my car is covered in salt, so are all my shoes, my skin is so dry, my hands are always cold. Basically everything just sucks. My roommate invited me to go ice skating with her and her boyfriend the other day, and I knew that I should get out of the house, but it was snowing and it was really cold, and there are a million other excuses I probably could have used too. And in the end, I stayed home and laid in bed and just wasted all afternoon scrolling on my laptop. And I know I should have gone. I could have used the time outside the apartment and the fresh air and the exercise, and I like ice skating, but it's just so much harder to get motivated to do anything in the winter. In the summer, I'm out all the time. I'll go to the lake to paddleboard, or I'll go rollerblading, or I'll go for a walk, or I'll just go down the street and go sit at the park and read. I'm just outside all the time, because all it takes is grabbing a pair of sunglasses and walking out the door. In winter, on the other hand, I need my coat and my scarf and my hat and my gloves and probably boots and maybe snow pants. And I could put all that on, or I could just stay home with my cat in my warm apartment. And I know that part of why I'm lonely is because I'm not making an effort. It's natural to want to hide away until spring. It's definitely something I tend to do. But it's not doing me any good. I'm like going stir crazy in my apartment, and I just feel bad. Northern winters hit really hard. There's so little sunlight, and everything is just bleak, and I'm really feeling the effects of it. I do every year, and I just kind of pretend that I'm not. And, and spring was more than 2 months away, and I just can't keep living like this. I need more than this. I need to reach out. I need to get out. And right now, I'm a week away from my last semester of college, or grad school, I mean. And by the time this episode is out, it might have already started. So that will keep me busy, but my classes are online, and I'm a TA, and most of that work is just grading papers, which I do from home. And all those are just more reasons to stay home. So I know that I need to be intentional about making time away from the computer and away from my apartment. So here's my plan. Every week from now until at least the beginning of summer, I'm going to try to schedule one activity where I'm moving, like, say, ice skating or sledding or just walking around the mall, whatever. And I'm going to try to schedule one activity with friends. Because if I want good friends, I have to be one. If I want friends who do fun things with me, I have to start asking them to do fun things with me. And an important caveat of this is that I recently was confronted with the fact that I don't have a lot of friends. I did, once upon a time. Actually, I think I mentioned the little friend group I joined in the old 2021 episodes. But since graduation, people have moved and moved on, and now I talk to 3 people regularly, and one of them is my sister. So I also want to do at least one thing per month that can help me meet more people. In February, I'm going to join a local book club, and I haven't figured out what January's is going to be, so keep you guys updated. And if you could hold me accountable, that'd be great. I know this is a bit of a shorter episode, but I think that's where I'll cut it off for today. I'm working on bringing back some social media for the show, so you can follow me on Instagram at listenifyou'relonely, no apostrophe, and keep an eye out for a website in the next couple of weeks. Well, this has been Listen If You're Lonely. Wherever you are, I hope that you feel a little less lonely now. I'll see you next time.